when you least expect it, you get some fairly pleasant surprises. My wife would pick me up at the airport sometimes when I traveled a few years ago, and one night she picked me up, and this was coming back from the session about where the auditor kind of yelled at me and said their mission was to make money for the stockholders. And her daughter and son-in-law were riding with us, and they were in the back seat chatting, and Linda, my wife, and I were in the front seat chatting. Linda's real good about letting me unwind and talk about everything that went on, and so I was telling her, you can't believe this company, which she was very aware of, which everybody be very aware of. I said their SOX team, their internal auditors, had no clue of what the mission was. And I didn't realize it, but Megan, Linda's daughter, was sitting in the back, and she said, I know our mission. And I looked over my shoulder and said, oh yeah? What is it? You know, I was expected, sometimes in the sessions when I'd ask for mission, people give some garbled, confused aberration of what they had read somewhere. And this young woman, probably 30 at the time, says, I mean, rattled it off very precisely. And I just kind of was stunned, and I said, how is it that you know your mission this well? She said, everybody knows our mission that well. And I looked up in the rearview mirror and I went, oh, come on. I said, you don't know, I go around the world, nobody knows mission statements. And she responded, no. In our organization, and she was with a convention hotel in the Orlando area, that's where they were living at the time. And she said, no, everyone in our organization has to know mission. And I'm like, what? She said, yeah, everybody from sales staff to convention staff to housekeeping to maintenance to janitorial. She named off all these categories of employees that at any point in time, she said, an executive can stop you, ask you for the mission statement, and if you don't know it, you get a demerit. And then they intentionally come back a couple days later and ask that individual again so that they have the opportunity to recover that demerit. But she said, no, everybody just completely knows our mission statement. And my first thought was, well, can I go to work and do some work for your organization? Because, I mean, that was just perplexing to me. But then it hit me, no, if everybody knows their mission, then they must have a flair for the rest of the process. So I quizzed her a little bit on the way. And sure enough, that organization had all employees tied to the mission. They knew what the major objectives of their division or department or area were, and some of the things that they had to be on the lookout for, which we call risk, and the things that they needed to do to keep the flow going, which we call control. So I was just perplexed that this organization required every single employee, from chief executive officer to maintenance and janitorial staff, on instant response to be able to cite the organization's mission. That's the kind of world I remember, and boy, if we could get back to that, this greed, this stupidity that as Mervyn King, who came out with King 3, though, on combined assurance and so forth, he calls the 2000s so far the decade of stupidity. And the first way I see to regain any type of integrity and competence from the decade of stupidity is return to mission. So when you least expect it, someone's going to give you a very precise mission statement. And since that, I went and the Institute of Internal Auditors had a mid-year meeting at their property, and I was amazed at how well run that place was. Why? Executive, sales, all the way down, knew the mission, they knew their major objectives, they knew what we call risk, and some of the things they needed to do to control those risks and accomplish those objectives. Even though they don't call it that, those entire framework of employees knew that flow. A good lesson to learn.